how did I get addicted to fentanyl? I'm going to answer that. And it's not just fentanyl, but this is sort of a part 2 of the video I posted yesterday, which is what it's like to detox from fentanyl. So if you missed that, go check it out. It's a pretty interesting video, I think. I'm biased towards myself though, but anyways, so I wanted to talk about in this video, because I think I'm going to make it into a little mini series. I'm going to talk about how I got to that point of being addicted to fentanyl, and among other things. But and then in another video, I'm going to talk about what my experience in rehab was like, and what in a separate video, what adjusting to normal life was like after getting out of rehab. But in this video, we're gonna focus on how I got addicted to fentanyl. So, had a pretty rough upbringing. Family was financially okay for the first very few years of my life. After that, it got pretty rough. My dad was always a crackhead. He liked smoking his crack, and I don't blame him. Crack was a lot of fun. So, I mean, if I was able to sit in my bathtub all day and smoke crack, without any repercussion, I'd probably do it. It's fucking, a lot of fun. But again, I'm not fucking condoning the use of crack, but there's a reason these people fucking do all these drugs, right? So my dad was hopelessly addicted to crack. Not hopeless. I mean, he wasn't always a crackhead, but we're not talking about him. And so, as I got older, he actually didn't use it anymore. He kind of traded one addiction for another. He started using painkillers, and this was like the early into the late 2000s. And so my dad was able to doctor shop from 3 different doctors. He was getting 120 10 milligram Norcos from 3 separate doctors each. So 120 plus times 3 a month. 90 or 120 of the 350 milligram somas. And then he was getting somehow 2 milligram Xanax bars. He was getting 120 of those from each doctor every month. So 360, 360, 360 basically, right? 1,080 narcotic pills per month. And so I always, I started smoking pot when I was like 10 or 11. And I was stealing it from him. My parents were one of the only people in the small town I was living in that had a medical card. Fucking go figure. But so I started dabbling with being under the influence. That's the key word. Family life was always pretty hectic. I've witnessed guns pulled on my mom. As I got older, I've beaten the shit out of my dad protecting my family, and in fact, it would end up being that I would be the reason my dad got a restraining order put on against him from the rest of the family, and that was the last time we ever seen him, and he passed away in the streets smoking crack. But shit's on you, right? Maybe we'll talk about that one day, but yeah, everything was tried. Some people just don't want to be better. Some people don't want the help. But so I started, I heard at school that you could get high on prescription pills. And so I started screwing around with the Norcos. I stole a couple of those, and I tried them a few weeks before I turned 14. Good God, I fell in love instantly. Now, opiates, the way they work for some people is they make them really tired, sluggy, and euphoric and stuff. And they make me feel euphoric, but they make me want to build a fucking house too. I get a very good burst of energy from it. And so I liked that. Xanax weren't like that, but Xanax just made me feel literally nothing, like I didn't care. And so I really liked those. And so from 13 to 15, almost 16, I was stealing a pretty decent amount of these, and then it started being noticed. And then we started getting into fights and stuff like that. Not even mainly about me stealing his pills, but about how he's treating the family. And so finally I just said, fuck it. I stole one of his full bottles, and then ended up a big thing. Cops got called on me, even though he's doctor shopping, but whatever. They end up getting the pills back. I don't go to jail or anything. And so I stopped using pills for a while. I still smoke pot, have drinks. I'm a high schooler, and I'm also working after school every day doing handyman work. From the time I'm 15, every day I'm getting off work, I'm doing handyman work, or off school, I'm doing handyman work, trying to help support the family. At one point, at 17 years old, I'm the main breadwinner. Everybody was on government assistance. Grandparents were on a very low-paying retirement. It was not good financially. My dad was just sucking them dry and being the biggest piece of crap it could be. And so, eventually I would move out and start dabbling with other stuff. Really liked cocaine, liked dabbling with meth every now and then, and the pills would come around every now and then. Fast forward a few more years, still dabbling, do a lot of hallucinogenics, love those things, those were like my favorite, and I don't mess with any of that stuff anymore, but I'm working in this trade for a couple years now, and I come across somebody at work who's got Percocets, and he's got them pretty cheap, and I start taking, half of one, full one every day, and it slowly builds up, and then I find out he's got these oxys, the blues, right? And so I start buying one, and I'm like, holy shit, I only literally need a quarter of one of these things to like get me loaded where I want to be. And I'm a pretty experimental guy, so like I start messing around, snorting a little bit of it. I find that I can conserve even more of them if I snort them. Well, then I get curious because I've smoked a lot of shit a lot of different ways. I popped a piece of one of those motherfuckers on a piece of foil and found that it smoked real good on foil. And it also felt real good on foil. So that was right there the main way I was going to start using these things. And so I did that for about 7-8 months. And I got this guy to cut down my price in half because I was using at the worst before the transition, I call it, up to 20 to 25 of these things a day. And yeah, it did get expensive. At the peak of my habit, I was probably smoking anywhere from $1,200 to $1,500 a week. And I did have the income to support this at the time and barely pay my bills, and in the end not pay some of them. Lost a car because of it. My own damn fault. But yeah, and I was working a gang at overtime, so the money was there. And I found some reasons in my life at the time. I was going through a breakup that was justification, and I was justifying my actions, and so it got worse. And so one day, one of my close friends' moms, been taking painkillers for years. They run out of their scripts early, and I get asked, hey, can I have one or two of your blue things? My mom needs something, like she needs to get through till tomorrow. And I'm like, sure, absolutely. Fucking don't think nothing of it. Goes home. Dude doesn't come to work, he didn't come to work the next day. Come to find out, mom ended up not breathing anymore and had to go to the hospital, and they had to bring her fucking back to life. And she'd only taken half of one of these things. And mom, takes her some fucking Percocets. So, if this is an oxy, it's got no fucking business doing. And I had been told, no, they're real, they're from Mexico. And like, I'm fucking, when it comes to dope, I'm gullible enough to believe anything as long as it's getting me fucking loaded and I like it. And so they test it. Sure enough, it's a little bit of heroin pressed with fentanyl is what these pills are. And I find out, and I mentioned yesterday in the video that I had went through a small little bit of withdrawals before I, later would go through my detox. And yeah, so I'd already been through that point, and I was not going to go through that shit again. And so I didn't really even bring it up at all until one day I asked him, I said, these things are fentanyl, and he just kind of smirked at me. And so kept doing them, my own decision. And at that point, when I found out that they were fentanyl, I figured if I found just regular fentanyl that wasn't having as much work done to it to make it look like pills, I'd probably get a way better deal, and it'd probably be stronger. And so the search is on. Ended up finding about $100 a gram fentanyl, and that dude, I'm his biggest customer for almost about a year, and it's at least one a day, a whole gram a day, like that I'm buying. Sometimes it would be 3/4 of a gram I'd be using, but I always, you don't want to run out of that shit. I fucking promise you that. And I've been in some pretty hairy situations doing that. One time, I'm not even gonna talk about it, but the ways you risk your life doing these things isn't even just like the act of using it and the effects it has on your body. It's like the situations you put yourself in. Like I was, in the middle of the desert. I've had a seizure in a porta potty before, and passed out, woke up covered in sweat, and that's not even just an isolated incident, trust me. And so yeah, at this point I was well and truly strung out on fentanyl. I was smoking about a gram of it a day, and I also was doing cocaine because I liked cocaine, nonsensically, because I was also using crystal meth so that I could stay awake and fight the nods that I would get. And I was drinking a fifth of rum every day, Sailor Jerry's. Ugh. God, even the sound of alcohol just makes me want to gag. And I'm fucking so grateful for that. I don't have the desire to have any drinks at all. It feels great, and I'm very happy for that. But sometimes it gets uncomfortable, thinking about certain scenarios during that time, because there was a lot of times I was really close, whether it to be death, incarceration, making stupid decisions. It's always right there. You're just one bad move away. And I would learn more about the details as to what addiction really is, and how I play into that, and what kind of addict I am, and all these things, as I would go and get clean and go to treatment and stuff. And here we get to the part of where I say why. Now, I think the why I got addicted to fentanyl, and drugs in general, it's not just fentanyl. It's not even just being high. It's escape, wanting to escape. I spent so much of my life, from the time I was a young kid, always constantly wanting to be not there. I didn't want to be home. I didn't want to be around the mean, the violence, the scary. I always wanted to be gone. And if you can't physically remove yourself from a situation, the next best thing you can do is, mentally and emotionally block yourself from it. And what better way than getting loaded, right? And so, obviously the more you do something, the more comfortable you get, the more normal it becomes. All of a sudden, now you can't not use. The only way you can even deal with any situation is to use before you do it, because you've spent so long using to escape how you really feel about any situation, that now to deal with any situation you have to use to feel they're good enough to do it. It's insanity. It's the definition of insanity. And that's weird. that's that's how I got addicted to fentanyl. And that's how I got addicted to drugs, and why I abuse substances. Not anymore. I've been clean for over 2 years now. I got clean the 4th of July of 2022. But I got people coming home. I hope you guys found this useful. If you are struggling with substance abuse, talk to somebody. I'll leave a couple resources I used in the link or in the description. But be honest with yourself and be honest with those around you, because that's the only way that anything is actually ever going to be done about it, is with honesty and willingness and open-mindedness. How? Honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness. I love you all, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And I do just will take 1 second to say a prayer for those that are affected by the fires, and for those that we lost on this day 23 years ago. I'm not the best at praying, but I just, figure we give a moment of silence. All right, y'all. Have a good one.